My name's Sam Fisher.
This video is brought to you by the Logitech Lightspeed wireless range of keyboards, mice and headsets, the benchmark in wireless gaming performance.
Hello and welcome to another 2005 Time Capsule PC video. Today doing something special. Here I'm joined by my friend and colleague John Linneman as we go through Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, with me playing on the 2005 PC with a 6800 GT and Athlon X2 3800 Plus, and him over there on the original Xbox hardware. This is pretty interesting, John, right?
Yeah, this is a very unique game for its time. So this was pushing a lot of new technological boundaries for the time, especially on the Xbox. So this was one of the first games that really leaned heavily on programmable shaders to create, it does like a lot of normal maps and a lot of cool specular highlight work and various other tricks that were uncommon for the day. I mean, obviously pixel shaders were a huge part of the Xbox, but this game really sort of pushed the technology to the next level in a way that nothing else besides the PC could actually match, which is why if you look at other versions of this game on other consoles, they're very different.
Yeah, they really are. And this reminds me as well, this is essentially a very late gen release on Xbox. So it was really pushing the hardware at the time. So the other versions that had very different technological makeups were doing something rather different. And if I recall, even later on in the generation, they might have even put out an Xbox 360 and PS3 version of this game, and it'd be interesting to look at those in due time to see what they did different. But just looking, side by side as we are right now in this light, these versions look pretty similar and different at the same time. I'm loving this already.
I mean, Splinter Cell was always known for pushing boundaries in Xbox. Gorgeous looking series. And in fact, the initial PC ports had issues because a lot of PCs didn't support pixel shaders at all, or even the correct shader model. So like only very specific cards like GeForce 3 and up could really experience Splinter Cell properly.
Yeah, really.
And it just so happens that I gotta figure out how to get up here because these controls are not conventional.
Yeah, this is one of those games in the, I would say, pre-Gears of War era, or pre-homogenization of third-person controls.
Big time.
So controls differently than a number of modern games, but still I think it controls rather well. And just getting into this right now, you should notice that I'm playing the game at 1024 by 768, higher res than the original Xbox.
It is correct.
And you'll also notice that my game is running at an unlocked frame rate, so going between 30 and 60. Indoor sections spending more time closer to 60, and here in the cave around 40s.
So let's stand back here and look over this bridge, because this area actually looks really nice, I think, because they try to simulate sort of the water caustic effect. It's there's water below, the light plays off the water, and you see the effect across the ceiling. Now obviously it's fake. Just gonna say it right
not
there.
Real.
It's very fake, but it doesn't matter because it's still neat, and it still requires multiple texture layers.
Be careful of the dude on the bridge, by the way.
And it looks
Yeah.
Well, I just took him out. Not very stealthy, mind you.
Okay. Another cool thing, as you can see, is that there's shadow maps on this version, on both versions of the game. Completely rare for this time period, and looking surprisingly similar.
But you're right. Shadow maps are perhaps one of the biggest revelations in this game, and they use them heavily.
Yeah, they do.
And to great effect.
For sure. It's everywhere almost.
And they really like this is actually one of the games that started the everything shiny kind of period. You know how when you look at like the history of various painters, they have like the Baroque period and things like that. It's like this is more like we're getting to the shiny period of games.
Yeah.
But at the time, being able to do this on texture surfaces was relatively new, and it was cool, and it works well because this game is intentionally, it's like bathed in water, rain, and like darkness. So it's very atmospheric in that way.
For sure, you know, and one of the other things that we can start talking about here in terms of differences, versions, and neat things that they did for the time is to look, if we look over here, perhaps at some of these textures on the wall, or actually, you know, it's on the ground here where it's a little bit whiter. You can see on the PC version here in 2005 when they released it.
There we go.
Yeah, you see that?
Wow, okay, I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, they're
there.
using parallax maps when you look here, which was pretty rare at the time. You only had something like Fear on PC.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe some other titles.
And then the launch titles in 360.
Yeah,
like Perfect
those.
Dark Zero and Cameo did that as well, but it would seem, as you would expect, not really feasible on an original Xbox.
Yeah,
I mean,
not really.
I have to wonder if it could have actually been achieved, but it just would have
Yeah.
been far too slow to be usable, because the frame rate's already unsteady in this game.
Yeah, it is a little unsteady on PC as well here too, if you look at that. But I do wonder if parallax mapping was capable on Xbox.
You know, it did just occur to me that this did actually show up on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 with an HD remaster, as they call it. That was much later, so I have to wonder if that version includes some of these extra PC features. I bet it does. I bet it does. It's probably just the PC version.
Yeah, I mean it could, because those consoles were very capable. Another thing that you may be noticing here is the difference in colors between the two versions.
Yeah.
Yeah, the PC version is using internal HDR rendering, which may make the Xbox and PC footage here look a little different in certain scenes in terms of how saturated it is.
Yeah, the Xbox was really it did all right with this game. They did a nice job sort of pushing this up.
Yeah, they look surprisingly similar in spite of these differences that we're already looking at here. Ooh, this area is a little bit...
I'll wait till you're in here. We can compare again.
Yeah, you got to be careful here, because I'm pretty sure there's a guard that walks around here, but we need to start looking at some of the other differences here as well, like the shadow mapping. And check. Oh wow, look at what you're doing right there. Yeah, that's right. They have all these filters that you can kind of see, and do they affect the frame rate there on Xbox actually when you're using them?
No, it's fine. It's about the same as it was.
Okay, that's interesting, because on PC here, I don't know if you can see that in the audience now, but when I flip over to the thermal imaging, it makes the frame rate suddenly run at like 60 FPS as all the shading goes away, because on the 6800 GT here, it's really GPU limited. There's tons of shading going on that this GPU was only okay at, and going over to this mode, yeah, well, it gets rid of it. It runs really well.
Okay, yeah. I think on this version, just sort of the tearing, it hits the 30 FPS cap pretty easily.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it doesn't go to 60.
Yeah. What can we do here? Scan some crates, I think. Yeah. But one thing I want to talk about really quickly, maybe we can talk about a bit later as well too, is how much I have a good history with this game.
Oh, hold on.
Oh,
Look at the shadows here from this gate.
oh, take a look at that. Yeah, I see what you're looking at there.
Yeah, the
Whoa.
PC version uses much higher fidelity shadows there.
Yeah.
But that's to be expected, I think, for the time.
Yeah, and they're filtered a little bit differently. And, you know, when we... Oh, my God. You know, when you think about it, cascaded shadow maps like this in any sense, not cascaded, or just any shadow maps, real-time shadows.
I know!
They're crazy rare.
I know. Like, I'm not criticizing what the Xbox is doing here. It's more like
No, you're
I'm kind of
criticizing Xbox. I can't
amazed
believe
and bemused at how they were able to pull this stuff off on the Xbox. It's very cool.
It's incredible. Pretty rare for the time. Let's go up here and check out what's going on. I think we're going into that torture chamber. You may be able to hear it. And a really interesting water texture on the ground.
The only problem with it is that what they're using for the reflection map is just like some kind of generic texture that has no connection to reality. It's just like white. But I understand why. Again, that's something that wouldn't have really been feasible and still looks really good.
That still does look surprisingly
Open
good.
door
Let's
stealth.
get into these doors. It's kind of nice how they have this ability to go through in different ways, like bash in.
I appreciate their commitment to simulation in this game, where like every little action has to be
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I don't need it.
Oh, you don't?
It feels more precise somehow, where it's like it's not just about, oh, you run through this tunnel. It's like, no, you get to the edge of the tunnel and then you have to bring up a selection box to determine how you exit the tunnel.
Yeah, it's like they they had all these animations. Oh wait, let's be careful here. Can you check out these palm on the wall? What does it look like on Xbox on your end? It's just so
in
interesting
comparison
to see
to
from this time
Xbox.
period. Yeah, it does look rather different, and they're both rather low res. It's just the fact that Xbox is a lower res.
Man, if we had time, I would totally bust out like the PS2 or GameCube version because those were
look so
wild
different.
looking. Because
Wow.
I mean, they couldn't like you really couldn't
Ooh, check
achieve
that.
a lot of these same effects on those consoles. They simply didn't support it, so they had to come up with interesting ways to sort of.
Oh, I just got spotted. Oh no. How about you?
Oh, I just got spotted.
Oh,
I just
yeah.
took out this guy. I'm gonna
Oh,
pick up
I'm
his
gonna be
body.
careful here. There's a
Can
lot
see
of
this
dudes in this game. It's not easy. Oh, I just died. Oh.
Did you get?
Yeah, I did. But no worries. I have a number of saves because I played through this game earlier. Not a big deal. And the reason why I did that earlier is because I realized that this game is essentially one where you have to save scum. Especially on PC, there's no checkpoint system at all, and the game is not exactly easy, even on lower.
Actually, while you're doing that, I can actually go in here and do quick save.
That's a good idea.
It's not that quick. Like it actually takes a second. It's just one option from the menu, and then it's like, there it goes.
Yeah, for me on PC, the saving and loading is pretty quick, but another thing that I notice, and you may see it when I actually get back in the game, is that when you go into the game and you're selected shader model 3.0, it actually saves the shader cache or
Oh yeah, that is interesting.
compiles it or something like that when you get right into the map.
I suspect part of the reason is that hard disks were slower at the time, memory was less available, and like not caching shaders that they're using could have resulted in pretty serious stutter
Yeah,
problems.
that's a good point, actually.
That they wanted to avoid.
Yeah, and interestingly, it doesn't do it when you have shader model 1.1 selected, I think. So just shader model 3.
I could see that because it is significantly more complex.
Yeah, it most definitely.
Oh, you're-
here,
oh,
I'm just
cool,
about
you're
to
right
get in
there.
game. And you can see it. Oh, well, here it is, caching shaders as I get in game. So it's definitely there and only on PC. And let's try and not die this time, Alex. Okay?
Okay, so here we are hanging out.
Hanging out.
I gotta admit, like if you look at the his arms,
Look at that. Look at his arms.
the
textures
deformation
here.
of his model. It doesn't like being pulled out like that.
No, underneath his armpit looks a little strange when you look. But, looking at between the versions
Yeah.
is that there's a texture difference. A little bit lower res textures on here, but on Xbox, everything else, more or less in the scene, other than the palm, is retained.
Yeah, exactly.
They look the exact same almost.
It is. I really think it is just a matter of just memory. Xbox only had 64 megs, which was a lot for its time, but obviously you're going to have to make some sacrifices there. Now, can you shoot this light out is the question.
Yeah, definitely. Splinter Cell.
That's another thing I love about this game is that all the lights are interactive.
Yeah.
Which
Even
is,
that candle right there. I already blew mine out in the previous save, but if you go over there,
yeah,
Sam can blow it
blue
out.
Candle. That's cute.
Yeah. Sam also in this game, just when we're talking about going back to what I wanted to say earlier, is this game has some pretty good humor, and Michael Ironton is
he's
really amazing as Sam Fisher. Ooh. Yeah, look at this room. So what does this look like on yours? There's
to
like
get
a
that kind of like blue glow.
fake GI.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's there.
Yeah,
For
interestingly,
sure.
but it's more blue on your version than it is on mine.
It looks. I mean, it really looks comparable. Like it's basically looks a lot like PC, but without parallax mapping, and the textures are lower res.
Yeah, that's about really it. They look
And
really
shadows,
similar otherwise.
of course, are lower res, but they're all there. Everything's accounted for. And
Yeah,
that's what's
it's
key.
kind of nuts how similar these versions are in the end. We're just looking at like slight differences in some ways. Resolution and frame rate aside, that's actually a big deal. Oh, here we go to these weird lock picking sequences on PC. They're a little awkward where you have to kind of like go through and hitting W, A, S, and D, and I'm probably on console. It's just
There we go.
it's easy, but once again, I really like the interactivity here when you get up to the door.
Okay.
But now we're going outside, and I think you're going to like this area too.
It's in the rain,
because
yeah.
it's one of the first times we see some of the cool shader model effects they're doing here. Like, it's going to be a little hard to see on the stream maybe, but
Oh yeah.
when Sam's outside here, he gets more wet over time.
Yeah.
And it changes the environmental texture on his suit to become more visible.
Specularity in general is something that was pretty new at this time. So you're right. It's cool they are able to crank that up.
Yeah, they also have this ability to kind of go inside the tents. I think you'll like this if you've ever seen this before.
I'm gonna
You
do
kinda,
it.
Like cut open the tent and it turns into a cloth kind of model.
Oh, I love when you go into the tent. They always, this was another thing Splinter Cell really had, was the cloth physics. And not only that, if you look at the cloth there, like the cloth casts shadows on itself and on the environment.
Big deal. It's not.
It's weird to walk back to this game and look at these details through the modern lens in that sense. You know what I mean? Because we've come so accustomed to all this stuff, but it was so new at the time. Like
this kind of like unified lighting where every single thing in the environment is almost casting shadows is so...
The light bulb is moving.
Be careful here.
I was trying to see if it...
Yeah, the light bulb, like you were just saying though, does definitely move and kind of changes the shadows from all the objects it's cast from. But we got to be careful here because I was just detected and this game is so hard. It's not easy at all, especially when you're playing without sound like you and I both are right now.
Yeah, I'm playing without sound and just trying to feel around in the dark here.
Not easy, feeling around the dark.
The thing is, though, is this is another game, when you look at this here, we're playing on LCDs for capture, and this game really likes a CRT.
Way more.
Like, with the way the black levels work in this and everything, like, it benefits so much from being played on a good CRT.
Yeah, on my LCD here, it's a little gray.
Oh, I can cut the cloth and then go into the back. I love that.
It's so cool. I love how the cloth physics are there on Xbox.
Here, I'm going to quick save.
Yeah, definitely do quick save. Yeah.
It's not that quick, again.
No, it's not going to be, but it's pretty okay on PC if you do try it out.
That's right. Okay, I think we're in a similar spot now.
Yeah, let's try and do a lineup shot here if we can, going over the side, adhering to the cover, which is another cool thing you kind of do in this game. Do you know how to do that?
I know, but I don't... how the heck does that work?
Is it white or black button or something like that?
Nope, that's inventory.
Oh. Do wonder what it is.
Hold on. There's got to be a way to do it.
Of course there is. For me, it's Q, but, very different controls.
That's just not it. There it is. Left click stick.
Left click, okay.
Left click the stick.
I would have guessed that.
Okay, so if we line this up here.
Yeah, line up. They look really similar. I mean, you're just looking at this right now, like... all the specularities there on Xbox. It even looks like the bloom is there on Xbox. Just there's kind of this difference at the top.
Yeah.
But that's really about it. Not too much more. This looks so similar other than the res here and the frame rate. But my frame rate's not too great.
Yeah, it really does. The specularity on the tent there from the light bulb hanging is quite different.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
On the PC, but that might be related to the HDR pipeline that this supports, possibly resulting in more intensity. It's hard to say.
Yeah, it's hard to say what it is. I mean, your version also has bloom too, right?
Yeah,
it's around Scott.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Does.
So the difference is probably just HDR, and I could turn it off, but
okay.
Yeah, I don't want it. I don't want to do that. No, it usually crashes games. That's our experience here.
So is this tunnel where we're supposed to go?
Yeah, that's where we're supposed to go.
Oh, another thing that was really new at the time and awesome is the puddles.
Oh, those
the rain droplets.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I guess it wasn't new. I mean, we had seen this before in other games, but it still looked pretty cool at the time.
Yeah.
Even if it's really just an animated texture.
Simple.
So there's not that many frames in it.
If you also look at Sam right now, you can also see there's this kind of... the effect is also applying to the plastic portions of him.
Yeah, you're right. I see that.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I mean, it's rather simple. It's just kind of like 2D attached to his model. But it gives the appearance of raindrops, water kind of going on him, and without this kind of shader model stuff.
That's because, again, most games at the time, less so on Xbox, textures would usually use, one or two passes, usually at most, right?
Yeah.
So you weren't doing a lot of this like complex shading work or like using different like render targets and stuff like that. Like that kind of concept was all relatively unknown at the time, or like still very early. So it's neat. You were starting to see it more on the PC, I think, at that point.
Yeah, you definitely were at this point in time. I mean, it was becoming more common in PC titles due to how Common Shader Model 3.0 was becoming, and it would only just get bigger with the next generation. There's actually a really cool shading thing coming up here in the room up top, but we got to be really careful of these guards. Oof. Yeah, I know they're it's not easy. The PC version has really great UI, I actually think, and also they kind of changed the controls for PC.
Okay, I'll let you take out these guys first. Go ahead.
1 second. Oh gosh, this is so not easy. Oh gosh, aiming is not easy at all. Yeah, but another thing I want to talk about is controls. Like on PC here, they make it so scroll wheel controls your analog movement speed.
Okay.
It's so rare to see in PC games. I've only seen it in like Star Citizen.
Which way do you want to go?
Let's go up here. Oh wait, there's actually two ways. This is an Ubisoft game.
That's true.
Multiple ways to an
What's
objective.
the way that? Okay.
Let's go
upstairs.
Top to your left. So
Yeah, this looks really comparable right now.
Yeah, they
I
look
just
really
want the
similar.
med kit so bad.
You know, we can go left here or right. You want to go right?
Before we go to the left, though, check this out.
Okay.
This is the overview of where we just were.
Oh yeah, let's go out there. Check it out. Oh wow, they look so similar. Other than the LOD, well no, the LOD distance looks the exact same.
Yeah, like if I line that up like that, like it's really similar, isn't it?
Very, very similar. I'm so surprised this entire time we're playing this how similar the PC really version is, but other than res, right?
Yeah, it's 480p. Yeah.
Yeah, so like 1024, 480p. It's gonna look a bit grimier on Xbox, but still very similar here. It's kind of nuts.
This looks cool too. The light hanging over the steps when you go back in. Slightly different, but it's
The lighting is a little bit more intense on PC.
yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, this is so Doom 3 era kind of.
Yeah, it really is exactly.
So let's actually get into this next room here. If we go and if we can, when we go in this room, let's do it because we haven't done it before. One of the cool things in this game was interrogating dudes. So let's go over here and try and interrogate the guy and see what it looks like.
How do you interrogate again? Yeah.
You'll bring up that contextual menu when you get behind him, and then you can just like hit enter or whatever it is on the Xbox.
Oh, there it is. Got
Should
him.
be pretty easy. Oh, look at this.
Love these faces.
I know, they're so good.
This is gonna go on the Good Faces Twitter account.
That's a good one. Great, not the
Hello,
greatest
dude.
differences here, really, between the versions when you're looking at them. Can't interrogate this guy, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But even though we can't interrogate him, there are some other really cool things you can do here. Like Sam, you can hit E on PC, and then he kind of takes him and uses him as a hostage, and you can shoot over, and you can re-put your gun back away. It's really neat. Kind of really...
Time to get some health. This is an interesting way for going through a
Totally.
game like this. Trying to play this at the same time on two platforms.
I hope those in the audience are enjoying it as much as we are because it's really fun. Oh, here, yeah, that's right. I wanted to show you this.
I love this kind of stuff.
Okay, so go over to this cloth and put Sam between the cloth and move the camera behind it. I wonder if it does the same on the Xbox. Oh my god, it does. That's nuts. What? Xbox? What? Wow. I'm just blown away.
The Xbox punching above its weight.
Yeah, it really is here. It's kind of nuts. I did not expect to see that. I mean, how common was this
Yeah, they
ever
really
in
went all
games
out
from this
on
time?
this version.
And plus the kind of, well, last time I remember seeing it is really around Crisis with its vegetation, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and wow. And there's a lot of other stuff going on in this room here with like all the shadows. It looks really good. Another couple other things they're doing here is they're kind of like push up interactivity with the environment. It is an opposed to Half-Life 2 world, so it's not like exactly amazing in comparison to Half-Life 2, but you can like pick up objects like this and kind of throw them. Yeah, let me how do I do this? Yeah, I gotta go up here. Oh yeah, you kind of like can pick them up and throw them as distractions for guards.
Oh yeah, I appreciate this a lot actually.
I mean, it's not completely different from other games, but it's just really neat. By the way, have you killed this guy over here, or is he... Have you killed him at all? He's just chilling there?
No. He's still alive? And we've just been like hanging out in here this whole time?
Yeah, he's just chilling in the background, feeling sick. Oh gosh, you could actually kill him by like slicing him. Oh my god, John, you just...
Oh man.
War crimes, John. Jesus, this is against the Geneva Convention. You just exercised your fifth freedom, but that's so illegal.
I think you're right. But it's time to continue. Let's go in this lit hallway. Because I'm feeling rather lit after playing this. Okay, back outside. Okay,
Yeah, cloth.
I get this.
So looking out here on the right-hand side, what does the water look like on Xbox here? Are they doing some sort of cool map mapping trick?
No.
Oh no, not really. It looks rather the same. I'm just reminded of Halo, which did those cool map mapping tricks to kind of make the water look shimmery at certain distances. That always looked really cool, but not on Splinter Cell.
Exactly. that was a common thing. Half-Life 2 had the same problem.
Yeah.
That always drove me nuts.
All that shimmering, so much shimmering in Half-Life 2's water. My goodness.
That was a difficult problem to solve at the time.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Okay, where are we at here?
We got to go forward, but thinking about it, repeating tileable textures that are really high res is something that PC versions had at this time a whole bunch. Ooh, I love the lighting in this room. See the shadow maps cast everywhere, and I'm just reminded how rare this is. Can you remember any other games that use shadow maps this time?
Two of the ones I remember that did it were also Unreal Engine games. This is Unreal Engine based. It was Deus Ex Invisible War and
that's right.
3, whatever it was called, Deadly Shadows or whatever. And the problem with those games was that the original games, especially Thief, though, with their older technology, they featured enormous maps. And by moving to Unreal Engine and using real-time shadows as they did, like a unified lighting model, at the time, it required also targeting consoles. It meant that they had to greatly reduce map size.
Yeah, right.
So that was my complaint with both of those games at the time, was that the maps were very small compared to the originals.
Yeah, they were. And you know what this reminds me of a little bit? It's kind of like when shooters, FPS games, switched over from 2.5D Doom-style shooting to 3D games, if you remember that, of course.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like the levels got smaller, the enemy accounts got smaller, all in service of greater graphical realism, and it affected game design. But I think in comparison here, I think this game uses the real-time shadow maps really well as part of its game design, and it really needs it kind of give you a sense of whether or not you're in light, out of light, and whether enemies can see you. Another cool thing, you can switch shoulders. I love that when you can aim down the gun. Oh, what do you just throw them? A flashbang? No.
Uh-oh. I made a mistake with my buttons.
Mistake, John? Another strike against the Geneva Convention. I can't believe you, John. You're just taking out all these people. They're non-combatants, John. What are you doing?
Where did he go?
Around
oh, there he is.
Yeah. It's not easy to aim in this game.
Well,
it's not easy at all. Kind of, when you move forward, you lose all your accuracy. I know why they're doing it, of course. They're trying to make
I just love the whole like, oh, that's weird.
What?
Okay, when you finished off these guys,
yeah,
come hang out up here, and I want to look at something.
Ooh. Oh, I'm gonna shoot this guy. Oh, we did kind of cool recoil animation when I shot him. Okay, so they're all dead, I think. What should I do?
See this corner where I'm standing?
Yeah, sure.
Look down. See that light by the light? Yeah, it does it on that too.
Yeah, wow. Oh, wow. It does it on both.
It causes the light to...
So they call the light when you kind of move the camera?
So I think it's because when you look right at it within the FOV sphere or whatever, it's slightly further away. And when you turn it like this, it's just close enough where it sort of triggers the... where it draws it. Maybe. That's my guess. But I think it's, it's a distance thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they probably should have modified it a little bit so that it doesn't do that at this exact point. But
yeah, it is a little obvious. And I'm reminded now when we're talking about this, how this game is around the time when engines were switching from like forward to deferred. So all these lights here, they were paying heavily for each and every single light. And all these are also shadow casting, so they're pretty heavy anyways. But they had to call them more aggressively than a deferred game.
Oh man, where is that? I think I must have already destroyed this guy.
Yeah, so, oh wow, you got him. But I love the shadow maps here. They're a little low res, but they look cool.
The frame rate's not great here, by the way, on the Xbox right
Oh, it
now.
Isn't?
Oh, there is actually. The guy's still alive.
Nice. That reminds me also, look at the frame rate here on mine. It is just like every single time I go outside, it's hovering just a tiny bit above 30, sometimes even dropping probably a frame below occasionally here. It's just so heavy, these outdoor scenes.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
I ran out of ammo.
You're dead.
So that's okay. I can get back there quickly.
Yeah, you got those saves, right?
Oh, wait.
Saves.
Exactly.
No biggie.
It's a quick save.
Yeah.
Let's try this.
They were paying for every light. So the culling does make sense, but at the same time, it's a little strange that it's happening at this distance and when you kind of like move the screen. It's so weird. I wonder why. I'm
a little surprised there, by the way, at how not slow the loading is when you retry a mission there.
Oh, it's not?
It was quicker than I expected.
You know, I'm just also reminded now how I've been playing through this game. I've been trying to do this a little differently lately. Go back and play these 2005 era games. I want to know I know the controls, so I played through the first 3 levels. And one thing I'm noticing is that the loading is really great between levels. You just have that little kind of shader model cache thing that happens when you load. But after that, they're pretty great. But there is some strange behavior sometimes, even on Windows XP here playing this game. Like for some reason, sometimes when I load between level or when I start the game, it makes this kind of like weird beeping noise, and I lose signal to the monitor for a second.
Well, that's strange.
Yeah, it is really weird. I'm not sure what's exactly causing it. It's kind of... So by the way, are you using the assault kit or the stealth kit or the recommend? I think the recommended is just the stealth kit because I don't have any grenades. I've just got flashbangs.
I just tossed an actual grenade.
So you do have grenades.
Because why not?
You know, looking at your stream over here in comparison to mine, your performance is pretty low right here outside.
Bad?
Yeah, it's not good.
It's not good right now. It's okay.
Not very good. Ooh, I love the shadow.
I can completely accept that, considering what they're trying to do here.
Yeah, it is for the time. It's pretty good given what's happening on screen. But that reminds me, at this time period, would you have preferred they maybe, you know, for the Xbox 360, PS3, if they would have kind of kept the resolution low, like 480p, but kind of push shading really high, or something else?
Would have been interesting. I think it was a really weird time, because that was during the transition to HD TVs.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's right.
So
yeah, it's hard to say.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, hard to say what I would really prefer, but it looks...
I would have been actually, you know, on the flip side, I might have been okay with like not going for this approach yet and just going for higher resolution visuals.
Yeah.
And smoother frame rates on the 360, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Like, rather than trying to use like cutting edge techniques, just like push the res up, and some games actually did do that.
Yeah, they did.
Like if you look at like Ridge Racer 6 and 7, it's not using high-end techniques, but it's a beautiful, smooth game still.
Yeah, I'm kind of the idea that console games are best when they target like a smooth frame rate,
exactly,
regardless of visuals, because they, you know, they scale better over time.
Yeah. I do like how they use this the way they do this like texture here to simulate sort of like the look of volumetric lights.
Yeah, it's pretty
obviously not really, you know,
fake,
but it's a neat approximation, and it doesn't look too bad, because it doesn't feel like a rotating 2D object.
No, it doesn't really at all. You kind of rotate around it here, and it doesn't collide too much with the geometry that badly. At least it looks pretty okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna sneak up behind this guy. Uh-oh, that did not work, and now I'm dead.
Oh, you're dead again. Do you have saves?
Nearby. Oh, Sam, that was...
Yeah, be careful.
Interesting.
So, do you have saves?
I was back a little bit.
That's not bad.
I can
work
my way back. Oh, see, you did it to me too.
Just turn around. What is this? Oh, I just shivved him in the gut. Oh, God.
Okay, I'm going to work my way there right now.
I don't know if you can see this, but there's kind of this dialogue going on in the left-hand corner here. But Sam in this game is voiced by, we didn't talk about it too much earlier, but Michael Ironside, who...
I love it.
Did an amazing job, I think, playing this gruff, typical American hero, stealth genre veteran, Sam Fisher, the Splinter Cell himself. And, you know, I don't know what they gave him when they were doing these recordings for the dialogue, but he does them so well in these first and second and third game. He sounds so good as Sam Fisher, and kind of...
That's right.
It's not as... I don't know, maybe as memorable in some ways as dialogue you may see in Metal Gear Solid games or something like that. You know, same genre. It's more down to earth, but still, there are some moments in the campaign here which manage to be really funny, and it's kind of Ironside's delivery.
Stay calm. We don't want to make any sparks.
Who are you?
I'm the fire inspector, and I'm worried that you or one of your stupid friends might try and squeeze a shot off in here.
He's very gruff, and I think we were talking earlier, I love when you get to the later games like Conviction, I think, which was his last game. He sounds like downright belligerent. Like, I don't want to go to the market. I'm gonna kill those. Just like it's like great. I love it. It's so good.
Ironside's so good. And that reminds me, there's this kind of fourth wall breaking moment in the second mission that gave me a good laugh.
Celestinia's last dry dock report for the Maria Narcissa. They have a newly installed central alarm system.
Don't tell me. 3 alarms and the mission is over?
Of course not. This is no video game, Fisher. But you don't want the whole place alerted to your presence.
But going over the top here, there's this kind of area where it's part of the promotional footage.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Sam was like hanging upside down and gonna be grabbing this guy and throwing him off the side of the lighthouse. But every single time I go up there, and when I was playing this earlier, I could not at all sneak around this guy. He would always shoot at me regardless of what I was doing. He would like drop a flare down and everything, try and get me. And I have no idea what you're supposed to do exactly to sneak past him so you can activate that cinematic moment where Sam drops him over the ledge. I have no idea how to do that. So if you're reading this, maybe you can tell me in the comments below. I'm not sure how to do it. Let's see how this works out here.
I'm just skipping it.
So let's try and sneak past him, but let's save first, just in case I get killed. John, are you managing to sneak past him actually?
How do you actually... Hold on. I'm gonna quick save again.
So he doesn't see you.
No. He's good so far. I love that high intensity spotlight.
Yeah, it looks really good with that bloom and everything. It looks so nice. But he still can't see me.
Oh.
Yeah, so how did you just sneak past him? I could never do that. No. I'll try.
He thinks he sees me, but he does not see me.
He sees me, I think. Or well, he's shooting like he does for you. Look at this. I wonder how good the AI is. Can he like lean over the edge and start shooting at me over the edge? I don't know. This game's AI isn't that great. I don't think it.
See, so even though fundamentally these teams are very different, that was always something that I thought Metal Gear Solid kind of excelled at over Splinter Cell was the AI.
Yeah, it really did.
The AI in those games had a lot of gray area, and they were really played with the player in an interesting way. Where here, you know, there's a little bit of that, but it's not brilliant.
Yeah, it's not as freeform. So I'm about to do it. Do that promotional shot where I throw him over the edge. Oh, yeah. That looked cool, actually. The flare on the ground here. Now you can.
I did it too. There it goes. Oh. There we go.
Bad. I like how you can see the flare leaking through its light because it's not shadow casting, and the palm here, or the parallax maps. I mean, pretty good looking. But yeah, I think the mission should be over here. It's not ending for some reason. So let's end it right here, right now. What do you think?
Yeah, I suppose so. We can leave it here for now. So that was fun.
Yeah, it was really fun. Kind of compared the versions between them all. It looked really cool when we were doing it side by side right now. Maybe in the future we could do this again with other games from this era. So write down in the comments below what kind of games you would want to see from this era, because this was a lot of fun. But John, thanks for joining me.
Sure thing.
And if you did like this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're already a subscriber, then hit that little bell in the corner to be informed as soon as Digital Foundry posts a video. If you want to see this video in higher quality, support us on Patreon to get years worth of Digital Foundry content available in high quality for download. If you want to talk to John or me about Splinter Cell back on these kind of old machines like this, well, write a comment below or follow John and myself on Twitter. And as always, this is Alex bidding you farewell and
Tom Clancy's farewell.
A breakthrough in design and engineering, the G915 features Lightspeed Pro-Grade Wireless, Advanced Light Sync RGB, and new high-performance, low-profile mechanical switches. Meticulously crafted from premium materials, the G15 is a sophisticated design of unparalleled beauty, strength and performance. Meet G15 Lightspeed and play the next dimension.